when we're older, and you're a famous soldier, if I'm ever trapped or in trouble, promise you'll come and save me.
Huh?
That's what heroes do. They save people.
What is up, Failroaders? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I'm here to talk about Final Fantasy VII again, but this time, it's the book, because I just finished reading Tifa's portion of Traces of Two Pasts, and I've got to say, I wish there was more. I thoroughly enjoyed Tifa's portion of this novel, and I wanted to hear more of her story, of her goings-on in Midgar, and more leading up to the events that we eventually get to in Final Fantasy VII, the OG, or the remake. Now, of course, I understand why she left certain key elements out of her story. At this point, they are in the plains leading up to Junon, so Cloud's dark secrets and some other secrets have not come to fruition yet. But I really enjoyed how she avoided it. It really did give us a lot of clues as to her character and as to some inner reasons as to why she does some things that she does. And we kind of already knew, based on other sources, that Tifa didn't tell the truth because she herself was worried for Cloud, and I imagine she was also a little bit questioning herself because of the serious injury that she sustained in the incident in Nibelheim 5 years ago from the game. But I imagine, her being unconscious for a month, like I said in the book, did make her question what she remembered versus what other people told her. Now, I enjoyed the portions in Nibelheim too, but not nearly as much as when she gets to Midgar. Like the last third of her story, I would say, were my favorite parts, where she meets Avalanche for the first time, where we see the healing process that she has to go through from her serious injury. And it was neat to see her childhood stories that coincided with the flashbacks that we get in the game as well. It was also neat, as this is the first time that I've ever seen any mention of Cloud's father. This book mentioned that when Cloud was really young, her father wandered off into the Nibelheim mountains and never returned. And when people went to go search for him, they found his backpack. This made me wonder what the mystery was behind him, because that's about all we learn. That his father died when he was really young, but that people knew his father. And then it also made me wonder, was he a pupil of Zangan's? But I also don't know that he was, due to the story that Zangan told. I'm almost certain he would have said, hey, that person lived in this village. The story was that the reason he always wants his pupils or disciples to have a sparring partner is that one of his pupils decided to go into the woods and spar with monsters and was killed that way. Since it's a mystery as to what happened to Cloud's father, that makes me think it wasn't him. But speaking of Zangan, I gotta say, that was my least favorite part of the story. And it's because I had high expectations for this. I was so I was so excited to learn the history of Zangan and Tifa, learning from Zangan, learning her skills from him. And I was just, it was just meh. I mean, the guy came to Nibelheim for one day, and he, saw Tifa and saw her body structure and was like, she will make a great disciple. And then the village decided to run him out, or at least the mayor of the village did. And so he comes to her in the middle of the night and says, hey, I want to train you. Here, take book 1, and I will see you in a few months, or however long it was. All in all, he truly only ended up training her maybe like 10 times over the course of a few years. And I was just like, please tell me. You know, the first time it happened, I was like, don't tell me Tifa's gonna learn all of her martial arts from books. And now I get that this is supposed to show what a masterful martial arts instructor Zengen was, because he could decipher a pupil's flaws and strengths just by being with them for a day here and there. And I also understand that perhaps this was supposed to be an example of, you know, it was supposed to show Tifa's character as well. It was supposed to show her resolve and show what a skilled person she was innately, and also what a mature person she was, in that she was able to keep up the teachings by herself, teach herself, and have that willpower to go on. But at the same time, even knowing the end where she was like, when I see Zengen again, I'm going to show him my style, not his style. Okay, I get it. She taught herself her own style based on Zengen, and I'm just like, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. This is, you know, the skills that Tifa shows in the game and the skills that they talk about her having learned aren't something where this master, I don't care how masterful he is, can just show up one day every few months and be like, yep, good job, make sure you face your palms up when you're doing that stretch, and then her become, you know, as good as she is, even able to, you know, rival Cloud in strength and skill without having been imbued with Mako. So that's pretty much it. But I did rather enjoy seeing her first encounters with Biggs, Wedge, Jessie, and also Barrett. I don't know how I feel quite yet about her having to live in Sector 8 and live in a container, you know, that where she barely had enough room for 2 or 3 people inside, and having to pay off a debt for 2 years and all this kind of stuff. Some of that kind of lagged for me, but once again, once she encountered Jessie and got involved with Avalanche members and was learning planetology, those were my favorite parts. And then the little tidbits that they incorporated from the game. And overall, I did enjoy her struggle. It was very enlightening, once again, to see this side of Tifa, and I still, once again, enjoyed the read and wanted to continue reading more. But alas, that's where it sits. And I will also say that one of the reasons that I waited till now to read her story was that I know that fan translations have been around for, I think, over a year now. But I also know that with fan translations, no matter how good they are, it can miss a little bit of the finesse that perhaps the original artist was implying in the story. You know, sort of a lost in translation kind of situation. I did read Aerith's Traces of Aerith's Past with a fan translation, and I did get the hint and the idea that while the fan translation was, you know, anyone who does a fan translation of part of a novel like that deserves a pat on the back and deserves to be recognized for their skills. I couldn't do it. But at the same time, I can't wait to read her story in this book as well and see just how well of a translation it was. And then there are a few more short stories in the back of this book that I look forward to talking to you about as well. So, thanks for watching this video. If you've already read a fan translation of Traces of Two Pasts, I highly recommend getting yourself the novel, which is in English now, and checking it out for yourself and, you know, just rereading it. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more board game and video game videos, including more Final Fantasy VII content like this stuff right here. See you guys.